Hello everyone, I'm Martyn Evans. I'm a property developer and I spend a large part of my working life with architects. It's my job. It's a slightly unusual job in a property development company, not the fact that I spend a lot of my time with architects, but that I understand them and can, for some of the time at least, speak the same language. In my long experience of working in a wide range of industries, I've never come across a situation where the two most crucial, close collaborators in any given project can exhibit such a complete lack of understanding and sympathy on both sides. I'm not blaming either side one more than the other. It cuts both ways. It's pretty common among developers I meet for them to categorise architects as necessary evils, and those that cost more than others as nothing more than having a laugh. Many architects see their developer clients, perhaps not surprisingly in this case, as ignorant Philistines, value engineering the quality out of everything and failing to see the value in good design. Many times both sides have a point. I'm proud and lucky to say that the company I spent most of the last 20 years working with is relatively enlightened in this regard. My colleagues and I have a series of very vibrant relationships with our architects, and our schemes could not have achieved what they have without very close collaboration with the design teams that we put at the very centre of our development process. I've learned some good lessons along the way about how architects should communicate with developers, so I thought I'd share some of them with you today. So, to you architects, I say, understand your client. The most productive relationships that I have with architects are when I can truly say that those designers understand what I need. The economics of our markets are still quite tough, and so now is still not a time for arrogance or sticking rigidly to principles that are just not appropriate. However, when great design can pull a financially stretched scheme out of the doldrums and solve its problems, which I truly believe that it can, then that's the time to be more passionate about your skills as architects than you have ever been before. Just make sure that you connect the two things. Developers have to understand that design adds value and that you are the one that's going to deliver it. You need to show how your work can make an average scheme, delivering average risky levels of return, sing from the rooftops and deliver above average returns. It's completely possible. You know how to do it. I want my architects to talk my language, to understand that costs are screamingly tight, to understand I have to pack more density on any site than any other I've ever done before. And I have to get it through planning, and I don't want to go to appeal. Only great design really can achieve that, so I want my architects to inspire me, to lead me, to teach me, and to help me do my job. Second thing I say is do it on the first date. I spend a lot of my time walking around potential development sites, either dead town centres, ex-industrial sites, or miserable places that you really wouldn't want to be on a rainy Monday afternoon. I have a constant companion on those trips, an architect. I'm never really without one. I'm constantly amazed at how similar final schemes that we produce for our planning applications look to the scribbled sketch that the architect that I walk around with does in the cafe at the end of the day over a cup of tea. I'd never dream of walking a site without an architect to bounce ideas off, discuss possibilities, uses, connections and contexts. We have very close symbiotic relationships with the architects that we work with right from the start. We definitely do it together on a first date. So my advice here is offer your services. Give a developer a day or two free. Show that you bother. Get in at the beginning. I've never ever given a job to an architect other than the one who walked the site with me that first rainy day. It takes two in our business. Where I build, I'm usually promoting change, sometimes really radical change. And to do this, my colleagues and I need a unique blend of skills from our designers. I ask our architects to be storytellers, charmers and disarmers, people with a glint in their eye, because we spend an awful lot of time listening to and drinking tea with people who are going to live and work in the places where we build. These people might be the thorn in the side of a smooth planning process, but to patronise them with slick lip surface PR campaigns never works. It simply just doesn't also produce the best developments. Those people deserve the full and total attention of not only me, but the design team and all the key people in the development team producing the schemes. In the front row of this charge, our architect needs to be a diplomat, genius, a technician, a caring agent of local change. It's a rare mix, all of those things, but the most successful schemes come when the architects and developers together tackle the communication process that smooths a scheme to planning. Speaking the same language is kind of crucial. A couple of years ago, I did an interview in BD magazine. I told the journalist that we were busy and that we were always looking for great new architects. Oh dear, big mistake. Can you imagine the number of packages that landed on my desk and in my inbox over the next few days and weeks? So I agreed to meet some of them, and a pattern began to emerge. On one occasion, I sat in our conference room with a number of my development team colleagues to listen to a presentation from 3 representatives of a reasonably well-known architecture practice that I didn't know very well, but whose work that I admired. The first slide after the logoed introduction was a detailed ground floor plan of a scheme. It looked a bit like this. As each one of my colleagues craned their necks forward to peer at the detail delivered by our admittedly not very pin-sharp projector, the architect flicked to the next slide really quickly that looked a bit like this, showing a photograph of a model that looked like it had been taken with a bad phone. So bad was the resolution of the picture that you couldn't even tell which building was theirs in the large contextual townscape. When I asked, he peered at the screen and pointed at the smallest of the buildings and said, "That one," and flicked on really quickly to the next slide. I stopped him and I asked if he was going to show us any images that we could understand, because an hour of drawings and plans and elevations and photographs of models like that was not an hour that I particularly wanted to spend. Not really was the answer, and they left after half an hour probably complaining that we'd not been very welcoming or very friendly. What I determined from this and watching other architects make their presentations is just exactly what happens to most creatives pitching to clients. They want to talk about what they want to talk about and not what their potential client wants to hear. As a developer working on a new scheme, all I see are problems that need solutions. Design solutions, engineering solutions, planning solutions, and sales and marketing solutions. You architects are right at the centre of that process, determining the shape of our schemes and often solving the biggest problem of all. What are we going to build and why? The successful pitch from the architect to the developer will happen because the architect understands this intimately. So here are my 6 tips for successful pitching to developers. Tell me why what you do works. Show me schemes that provided clever solutions to really difficult development problems, and tell me how you worked it out. I want to know how you think first, and then what your buildings look like afterwards. How you think is what makes you different from other architects. Your buildings are the result. Next, don't tell me that you do everything. Please don't tell me that you're a master planning architect when all you have in your portfolio of built projects is residential development. You might have the skills, but I'm very unlikely to hire you to master plan a 20-acre site if you can't show me one that you've already done. Be honest. Pitch to work with me on a job that you can show you can do. Get to know us and grow your work that way. Third, show me good pictures. Don't show me plans or black and white elevations. If it's all you've got, then invest in some decent renders or CGIs. I'm only human, and I want to be seduced by beautiful pictures that show me a lovely place with beautiful buildings. If we're having a discussion about technical detail and it would help to pore over a plan, bring one as a backup. Even worse are hugely detailed slides mostly about sustainability systems, showing trees, sun and cloud symbols, arrows, flowcharts and statistics completely impenetrable. Talk about people. Architecture and property development is only about one thing: people, end users. How are they going to live, work and play in the buildings that together we design? How are the places you design going to be economically and socially sustainable for people who live in them? What will they enjoy about what you design? Tell me about the people who are going to be my customers. It's what I'm obsessed with. Do your research before you come. We're specialist mixed-use regeneration developers. It says so on our website, right at the top. So I'm unlikely to be interested in resi conversions, in sheds, in hospitals or country houses. So don't waste your time either showing me those things or coming to see me if that's what you specialise in. You'd spend your time so much more profitably with another developer who does what you do. You want to move from doing domestic conversions to being a regeneration master planner, but no one will give you a chance? I say never mind. Do it anyway. Do a project off your own bat, then show me that. Talk to me about your ideas while showing me something that you've done. We are regeneration developers. We're turning places around completely, 180 degrees, and that's really hard. We can't just design some lovely buildings, make a nice glossy brochure and beat back the crowds who come running. We have to be innovative, clever, think about what our buildings need in order to make the site work, and then often we have to do it ourselves. In Hayes, at the old vinyl factory in West London, we're refurbishing EMI's old record pressing plant, 17 acres in the middle of a town with a great deal of problems, many caused by that business moving out in the early 1980s. Our single promise to Hillingdon Council, along with our planning application, was that we would bring 4,000 jobs back to that site. And so that was the brief that we gave our architects: help us create 4,000 jobs. The mix of uses, the master planning, the ideas for uses for specific buildings, all inspired by design team meetings and collaborative working between us and our team of designers. And the last thing I would say, and probably the most important, is if you think we're not talking the same language, teach me, inspire me. Take me to see schemes that you like. Show me why I should like them. Help me to understand how you think and push me to think differently. I think our role in the developer-designer relationship is to light fires and then let our highly talented design teams turn them into raging infernos. We're happy to let that fire race off in unexpected directions sometimes, because once enthused, we want to nurture our designers, giving them the freedom to discover something fresh and giving them the opportunity to inspire us. There are enough smart people in development teams to bring reality checks early on to the complex projects we're engaged in. At the start of a design process, when the brief is quivering in the middle of a table, I'm not interested in a design team that wants to talk about regulations, what can't be done, and what the limits of the site are. I want designers with fire in their bellies who will challenge, inspire, and bring passion to my projects. And only then, when we have the ideas, comes the time to shape them and turn them into commercially sound developments.